So yeah, first I'll introduce myself. I'm Dale. I'm the Assistant Director of CICS Careers here at UMass. Um, and just a couple of things about what we do. So um, we help students explore options, really deciding on what you actually want to do and what you care about as a CICS student, as a PhD student. So what are some of your interests in pursuing a PhD and looking for internships or any professional experience?
Um, I'm interested in I like machine learning applications for healthcare. I'm interested in learning more about natural language processing.
Excellent.
Computer
Cool.
vision's fun.
Great.
Pretty open.
Great. Good for you. So other things we do, we help you search for opportunities. So improving your search strategy, which we'll address in just a second. We do resume reviews, help you network, which is really crucial to finding an internship. And then with the interview process and also the final phase, which will be your deciding and negotiating for internships. So I don't imagine you have plenty of questions about a resume yet, but some of the things we focus on are organization, content, and format. So have you heard of the STAR method?
Yes, I don't remember what it stands for.
Sure. So it's situation, task, action, and result. And the situation sort of categorizes what exactly you're doing and what you're seeking to accomplish or directed to accomplish within a role. And then the tasks are your exact actions that you're carrying out. And actions obviously kind of play off of that and help you develop your actual course of work that you've accomplished. And then results, a resume is really results focused, so employers want to know what exactly you have achieved or accomplished within any given role. So that's STAR in a nutshell. But beyond resume review, so basically exploring your options these are really great ways to actually find the internships that you're looking for. So have you been to a CICS career fair or any career fair here on campus?
Yeah, I've been to a career fair. Are they
Okay.
going to be in person?
So not fully decided yet, but they should be. They will have an in-person component, and it will likely have a hybrid virtual component as well. And we run that off of a software called Career Fair Plus. So networking we'll get a little bit more into, but it's certainly beneficial to you to talk to classmates who've done internships. And I think some of the best ways to do that are to talk to PhDs here, especially if you have a relationship with any of them as you're already a UMass student. And then getting involved. There are recruiting opportunities at Hack UMass. Have you been to Hack UMass?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. So there are conferences that you can go to that also have recruiting opportunities. We recently did a tech talk with Adobe this past fall, and they came in and talked about their recruiting opportunities, and it was Adobe Research actually, so that might be something that would interest you. But we invite who we call our top employers and also other industry interests in to do tech talks and help recruit. So that's a piece there, and you see our recruiting timeline here at the bottom. So we have our tech fair. There's also an engineering fair in the fall. And then in the winter, we pair up with the College of Engineering for an engineering and tech fair. So to build off of that, yeah, again, a lot of it goes back to networking. And do you in particular have any experience with internships previously?
Yeah, I've done some as an undergrad. I just want to know this like statistics, where do people end up for PhD, and how many get internships their first summer, second summer, stuff like that.
Okay, so yeah, we track that for master's students. We don't exactly track that for PhD students in terms of destination and where students go. But I know offhand that a lot of students go to FANG and big tech for PhD internships. But what we can do is we can help you with appointments to set up your internship search and help you find career opportunities with specific employers based on your interests. So your preferences on, like you said, computer vision or machine learning, and we can help you through that. And we can help you by location. So if you have a location preference, if you have an industry preference, so if you're looking to go into something like financial tech or big tech, anything like that, we can help you out with that too. Tech interviewing, you're probably very well familiar with this because you've done internships already. But we provide mock tech interviews as well, so that you can succeed and be as prepared as possible for a PhD level interview. We have a lot of master's students on our team who have done really impressive internships and are great tech interviewers as well. What's been your history with networking, Evan?
For networking, I mean, I've used LinkedIn.
Yeah.
I mean, I've networked with professors and PhD candidates, if that's what you're asking.
Sure. Yeah, I'm just curious in general. So, I don't know if you're familiar with our UMass alumni dashboard, but we have about 200,000 alumni on LinkedIn working in different professions around the world. So you can find folks who are currently doing internships in the areas that you're interested in. You can find folks who are PhD grads from UMass, researching their profiles, seeing what they're doing. So it's all part of a larger process of doing your research on the company and then networking and applying at the same time. And we definitely suggest focusing on shared interests and experiences, like I was mentioning before. And then you're probably aware, especially in PhD scenarios, that with the bigger companies like Meta and Google and Adobe, Intel, Microsoft, those sorts of companies likely give employees referral bonuses too. So that's a good way to get in the door also. So on our website, you can access basically all of our resources in a little dashboard at the bottom. So whatever you're looking to accomplish, you'll go to, you can just seek that out in the How We Can Help section, and then we can, I would certainly suggest getting engaged with us on Handshake and on our CICS Career Slack community, which you're probably already a part of as a UMass student. We post events and hot internships, so things that are geared towards PhD students on that network all the time. So yeah, to answer your original question, there are really strong destinations for PhD students, but I think that one of the best ways that you can approach what you're looking for is actually having those conversations with either folks on LinkedIn who are PhD or MS grads, and your peers who are currently doing internships as well. So I think it's really helpful to that you've already been reaching out to PhD students, and that can be really helpful to you. And we can certainly, through appointments, help you prioritize and find opportunities. So that's what we do. So do you have any outstanding questions or?
Nope, that was it. Thank you. That was very helpful.
Okay, great. Thanks, Evan.
Have a good one.
Yeah, you too. Good luck.
Hi, Dale.
How are you?
I'm doing good. How are you doing?
I'm doing very well also. Hi, Hilia. I think we have two folks in the room here. First, I'd love to know a little bit of background on each of you. Where are you coming from, and what made you interested in UMass?
Yeah, I guess I'll go first. So I am currently a master's student at UMass.
Oh, great.
I'll be heading here for PhD. So yeah, I had a question for you.
Yeah, sure.
Regarding internships. Like, I wanted to understand how the internship search is different for master's students. How is it different for master's students and PhD students? Because for a PhD, we are looking at like a very specific job role, but for masters, I feel people are applying for a more generalized spectrum. So how would you suggest going about the internship hunt for PhDs when the field is so like focused and narrow?
Yeah, sure. So I can go through that in just a second, but I'd also love to give Hilia the opportunity to introduce herself as well. If you'd like, I think you're on mute there.
Hello.
Hi, how are you?
I'm fine. I'm Helga. I'm a master's student at Sharif University, located in Tehran, Iran.
Oh, okay, great. Wonderful. Well, congratulations on being admitted to UMass. And yeah, and if you have any questions, you're more than welcome to ask at any time. So basically, I want to go through what we offer here. And what I was just answering for Evan was a similar question, because PhD internships are sometimes kind of niche. But what I will go to, first I'll kind of give you the rundown of what we have here. So the first thing you want to do is explore your options. So learn, exactly what you want to do, and decide on whether that's a machine learning internship, some sort of R&D internship, or whatever you're interested in. And then we can help you find opportunities. And I know, there is a bit of a difference between undergrad or MS and PhD, because there are some more niche, opportunities that you'll be seeking out. So, and then, my best piece of advice, I think, is really building your network and finding out from peers and finding out from UMass alum what their journey has been and how they got to where they are, what kind of internships they've been doing, and not only alums, but with current PhDs as well, because so many of them do get really excellent internship opportunities. So I'm going to fast forward here. So there are lots of opportunities, and Hilya might be less familiar with these because some of them are specific to UMass. You might have a little bit more familiarity, but have you been to a career fair, Shandak?
I have, yeah.
You have, okay. Great. So we host several career fairs every year. We have our big tech fair in the fall, which we bring usually over 50 employers to, and several do actually seek out PhDs. So we definitely encourage those. Talking to classmates is huge, and we'll talk about networking in just a second here, but have you gone to Hack UMass also?
No, I haven't.
Okay, so Hack UMass is a general hackathon for all UMass students. It's primarily CICS, but it's open to everybody. And employers often attend those kinds of events. Hacker 413 is an all women's and non-binary hackathon that happens every spring. And again, they also bring in employers to talk to students as well and to do some recruiting. So also taking advantage of conferences like the Grace Hopper Conference or the Richard Tapia Conference is a really great way to connect with employers. And I mean, lots and lots of employers, hundreds. So that's a good way to get involved and continue your search. Like I was mentioning before to Evan, we do bring in industry for tech talks quite often. So we had a tech talk recently with Adobe Research, who came to talk about specific projects and initiatives that they're working on, and also to help with recruiting and this was exclusively for PhD students. Basically focusing on employers first is what's really key to finding the opportunities that you want. So PhDs, go to sort of a litany of employers, but a lot of them, wind up at like FANG and big companies like that. So what kind of internships are you interested in?
Machine learning internships. Machine
learning. Okay. Yeah. So you're going to want to focus on, the employers that have really great machine learning programs, and then start researching and thinking about their jobs and doing prioritization of what you're looking for. So I'm going to get into networking in just a second, because I think that that's really important. But we also help with mock interviewing. So have you ever had a handshake appointment with us before?
I haven't, but I know about it.
Yeah. Yep. So we have plenty of resources for that to help you out with your process, and we can help you narrow down lists of employers with what we call our search templates. So and then we can help you identify some roles that you may want to apply to, and we can help you obviously from every step there on out into the applying and interviewing phase. So, and then of course we offer
I had a question.
negotiations. Sure.
So how important like is lead coding for PhD internships? Is it a necessity, and like do all companies ask lead code for especially for machine learning internships? Because generally for machine learning internships it's not relevant.
Yeah. So a lot of it is going to be like case studies and things like that, right? So so I mean, practicing lead code is never a bad idea, you know, and being comfortable with you know, with Python and Java and whatever, you know, whatever else is relevant to that machine learning role. So those are things that you're, you know, that you're going to want to practice and be, you know, completely familiar with. But a good way to know those kinds of things is talking to, you know, current PhDs about what their interview processes were like for machine learning, and you know, scheduling interviews with us as well. So, you know, once you have a job description, or once you have an interview coming up, you know, we can really narrow down and focus on what you need to prepare. So yeah, I just wanted to go through networking a little bit here. So have you done much networking as a master's student here?
Yeah, I have been looking for internships, so yeah, I have done quite a bit of networking.
Okay, excellent. And you know about our
through LinkedIn.
Yeah, you know about our UMass alumni dashboard?
The UMass alumni dashboard, that'll be the one on LinkedIn, right?
Yes.
I have seen a video. Yeah.
Yep. Yeah. So we have about 200,000 alumni engaged in that, and you know, I really recommend searching folks who have already done PhDs here at UMass, or even master's programs here at UMass, paying really close attention to their profiles. So seeing what they've done in terms of machine learning internships, and then reaching out and connecting with them in terms of your shared interests and experiences. So it's kind of like informational interviewing, if you've ever heard of that, but it's almost the reverse. Sometimes you're largely asking questions of them, like, you know, how did you prepare a resume to get into a machine learning internship at Google, for example? And then what was your interview process like? Is leak code worth it? Get your questions answered like that. And then you know, sometimes even if the conversation goes really well, you know, the bigger companies, they can give you, somebody can help you with a referral. Yeah, so that's really critical. And then on our website, we have, I think, like 80 pages of information, but you can use our queue here that's about at the bottom of our main page, and search anything that you need in terms of finding, excuse me, finding an internship and how we can help you. So yeah, we really do love to help our PhD students. I would look out for events, and we post what we call hot internships on our CICS career Slack community. So, and some of those are PhD focused. So whenever we have those things, you know, look out for that. And we also do a weekly or bi-weekly, we alternate, newsletter called Kickstart Careers. You may have received that in your inbox, but I would pay close attention to that too, because whenever we have relevant PhD information, it's shared in that context as well.
Got it. I had another question, like about
Sure.
does CICS Careers gives out some general advice regarding when we should do internships? Basically, should we do it from our first year of our PhDs, or should we do it later? Because like I am an international student, so there are only so many internships I can do.
Right.
So is it recommended that we do the internships later into the course so that we can, like I am industry focused, so that we can transition into a full-time role?
Sure. So there's no easy answer to that question, unfortunately, because of the CPT limitations. But hi, Darren. Thank you. But I would say, I mean, my biggest piece of advice is, PhD is very rigorous. So do what you're prepared for and what you're ready for and what you can handle, right? So, if you're very busy your first summer, and you're not feeling prepared or whatever, you have several chances, right? And you can alternate, you can do an internship your first summer and then do research your second summer, do another internship your following summer. So it's really up to you in balancing your academics with your industry focus. So yeah, I understand that the limitations of CPT are very complicated, but yeah, that would be my best piece of advice. I hope that at least sort of answers your question. Okay,
Yeah.
Great. And do you have any others, or I'm more than
No,
happy.
I think I'm good. Yeah. I think
Okay.
I'll have to drop off. I'll just check out the other meetings that are going on.
Okay, great. Thanks for dropping in, and congratulations on being admitted.
Thank you. And thanks for all the information that you provided.
Yeah,
It
you're
was really
welcome. I'm glad. Thank you so much. We'll see you soon. Bye.
Hi, Dale.
Hi, Darren. How are you?
I'm all right. How are you?
Good. So, are you a UMass student?
I'm a prospective student.
Prospective student. Sure. So, if you don't mind, would you share a little background of where you're coming from and maybe what interests you in UMass?
Sure. I'm a graduating senior in computer science at Blonders College in Little Rock, Arkansas. I am an international student. I am from the Bahamas.
Cool.
And what interests me in UMass is that there's a lot of intersection with education and emerging technologies like artificial intelligence. So I was able to find a great fit there, and I enjoyed meeting with my recruiting advisor and their students. So it seemed to be a good community so far. Let's see.
Cool. That's great. I've always wanted to visit Arkansas. I've always wanted to see the Ozarks. I don't know if you ever made it there, but
no, I've basically stuck on campus working.
Stuck on campus. Yeah, relatable. Sure. Okay, so I'll go back to the beginning here, but before I do that, do you have any specific questions that you'd like me to address?
Yeah. Do you have I mean, forgive me, this is just like a simple Google search, but do you have resources for international students, specifically for international students, on your on the CICS careers page, considering that our circumstances are different than domestic students?
Yeah, sure. So we have plenty of resources for international students, particularly about the CPT process, all of those sorts of things. But we can, we can help you through the search with companies that sponsor, and usually, well, I shouldn't make a generalization, but they're in a PhD context, it's more common, I would say, that companies do sponsor than it would be at an undergraduate level. So yeah, basically, if you want, I can go through my little presentation here, and I can just give you kind of a rundown of what we offer. And then if you have any questions during the course of it, I'm certainly happy to answer those.
Yeah, sure.
Sound good? Okay, so basically the place that a lot of places that we help. There are a lot of places that we help. So we help you explore your options, first of all. So kind of getting general context of what you're interested in. So it sounds like you're very interested in AI, right?
I'm interested in using methods for it. My primary interests are first the human computer interaction and seeing how
Cool.
people interact with these systems. So I guess the critical section, like I'm not as interested in working on like developing like they say machine learning models, but if I were to give you something like an intelligent tutoring system that's gonna like coach you, let's say how best to do the job search, I'm interested in like how we can best design and then develop and then evaluate that technology interacting with the user. That's
Oh, excellent. Okay, very, very cool. Very interesting. So so then we help you search for opportunities. So you can reach out to us at any time if you're a PhD, if you decide to come here. And what we do is we have career software called Handshake. So you set up appointments there, and we can help you with everything from beginning from resume review to actually looking at opportunities, and we can help you identify employers, some roles, and then we help with networking and tech interviewing, and we even go all the way through to helping you decide on it and negotiate an offer once you get one. So so have you done an internship as an undergrad?
yes, I did an internship with Deloitte.
With Deloitte, very cool. Okay, was it an SDE internship or?
It was an information technology.
Oh, okay, very cool, awesome. Did you get to do that remotely, or did you travel?
It was remote. It was just because COVID hit. It's like, but hey, it is what
Oh,
it
okay.
is. And then like
Okay,
I actually interned with them remotely twice. So
got it.
yeah,
Understandable. Yeah, this has changed everything. So
yeah.
so yeah, we help obviously go through the resume review, and we have what's called a resume checklist, which you can find on our website, but it helps with organizing, providing the correct content and formatting for an industry internship, and using the STAR method, which stands for situation, task, action, and result. So what we do from there, we have a lot of really, really cool events and ways to get involved here on campus. So we have two really large or three really large career fair events geared towards tech students, or CS students rather, and all students here at CICS. And we have our tech fair every fall around late September, early October, where we bring in about 50+ employers. Last year we did a hybrid event, so we had some employers here on campus and some recruiting virtually. And I think networking is a really big piece of being a PhD student, and finding your way into an internship that you want to do, or a company that you want to work for. I'll talk about that in a second, but there are a lot of ways to get involved here on campus. So we have what's called Hack UMass, which is our sort of signature hackathon that happens every fall. And you create projects within, I believe, 36 to 48 hours. There's some employer involvement, sponsorship, and interaction there. We have Hacker 413 every spring, which is a all women's and non-binary hackathon. And then you may have heard of some of these conferences, but we participate in the Grace Hopper Conference and the Richard Tapia Conference. And those events have employers that are, I mean, just a giant amount of employers, hundreds of employers engaged. So those conferences are great to go to. In the past, we've been able to sponsor students to go to them. I'm not sure what that'll look like in the future, but that's been a really great thing that we've been able to do in the past. We bring in a lot of industry, industry leaders to give tech talks. So we recently had one with Adobe Research, and they came in and talked about some of their new projects and initiatives and help students with recruiting. And that was geared directly towards PhD students. So, so we have events like that quite frequently. And whenever there's a relevant event to PhD students, we have several marketing channels. So we have what we call our Slack CICS careers community, which you would be added to if you were to come to UMass. And we have several channels. One is called Hot Internships, where we post new internships every day. Often one's geared at PhD students, and we specify if they sponsor. So that's good to pay attention to. And then events like I talked about, like the tech talks and things like that, can all be found on that resource. We talk about researching and networking and then applying as the real search strategy here. So, you want to focus on the employers that you want to work for first, and that will help you find the right jobs, right? And that'll help you start to build your network. So a really good way to, I'll get a little deeper into networking in a second, but we have a really good community here around our PhDs, and they're very, very helpful and very, very generous in talking to new PhDs. And did you engage with PASP, the PhD applicant support program?
Yes.
Yeah, so that's just one example of kind of how our PhDs support newer PhDs, but it's really a great community, and they're really helpful in terms of talking about their own experiences. So you have a great community of peers here to connect with and find out how they got into the internships that they were looking for. And then, of course, the last step is just applying and providing an efficient resume and justification for why you want to work there. And we help with resumes, CVs, cover letters, all of those things as well. So, and then tech interviewing. Like I said, we have that handshake software. So we use that to schedule all of our appointments. And like I said, we can help you through every step of the way. We have master's students who are very advanced at tech interviewing, and they can help you with that step of the process. So that's very helpful as well. And then, like I said, networking. So UMass is obviously, a giant school. So we have about 200,000 alumni engaged on LinkedIn that went to UMass, and they're, working in different professions around the world. But we have so many in the tech industry, and really good ways to connect with them are focusing on their profiles, seeing, that they did a PhD or a master's at UMass, seeing what kind of internships they did in those contexts, because they are going to be a little bit more perhaps niche than what an undergrad internship might look like. And then I always suggest focusing on shared interests and experiences when you're connecting. And you may have heard about the term informational interviewing. So this is kind of the way to do that. And, asking questions about, well, I see that you work in this specific area. I'm really interested in using these skills or anything like that. Or I see you worked for this company. I'm really interested in doing artificial intelligence with them, or whatever you're really looking for there, and just starting sort of an organic conversation that way, and then that can mature into a conversation about resumes and what their actual interview process looked like, and then some of the employees of maybe bigger companies or not always just that, but might be able to give you referrals if the conversation goes really well and you all connect. So we all of our resources are just a quick search away on our website. So you don't even really have to go to Google to find what you're looking for. So at the bottom of our website, we have a search queue, and we have about, I'd say, 80 pages of information on things like you were asking about, like resources for international students, how to apply, our guide to internships and how that process plays out. And then, of course, however we can help you directly through appointments and things like that. So, and then, like I mentioned, we have our career community on Slack as well that you would be engaged in and want to pay attention to. So, any specific questions?
Yes. Can you tell me more about how PhD interns? Was that the question I want? I'm thinking which questions I want to ask.
Yeah, sure. Whatever is on your mind.
I guess this is probably best as two questions then. So how do PhD students get to explore different career paths in academia and industry or the nonprofit sector?
Yeah, so I think that's going to have a lot to do with your research in your program and the labs that you're affiliated with. So, but there are faculty working in all of those domains here at CICS. So, if you're interested in any of those given things, build your network with faculty, and they can be very generous with their time, and talk to PhDs that are already in labs that are interested, that share similar interests to you. There's a guide to all of our labs and all of the PhDs and postdocs that are working in them. So, you know, if you find anything of interest, you can reach out to them. Some even have office hours for assistantships that they're doing that you can go to. You can connect with them on LinkedIn, email them, but it's a really strong community between our PhDs here at UMass. So I think that that's a really strong way. But we can also, from a career development perspective, help you explore those opportunities as well.
Thank you.
Yep.
Well, those are the questions that I had.
All right, Darren.
All right. Well, thank you for being here and I guess helping us navigate this. I hope you have a great rest of your day.
Yeah, you too. Yeah, congratulations on being admitted to UMass, and we hope to see you here.
Thank you.
All righty, have a good day.
You too.
Bye now.